Please welcome Michael Scarano.
On the 6th day of January of 2024, I received a phone call from the younger brother of my dearest and closest friend of over 40 years. When I answered, he abruptly responded to tell me that he had just gotten off the phone with the coroner's office. My friend, Fotis Manavelis, shot himself. I didn't know what to do. I literally dropped to my knees, cried, and screamed. And over the next several months, all I could do was obsessively think about why on earth would this man do this? I wish you all could have met him. He never met a stranger. He was everyone's best friend. He had an infectious laugh and sense of humor. He worked his way up the corporate ladder, and he persevered more than anyone I've ever known in my entire life. Why would he do this? On Fotis's 37th birthday, his mother, who meant the world to him, out of principle, had to get his birthday cake on his birthday instead of waiting till she saw him on the weekend. She went to the store and walked out, cake in hand, and while she was walking through the parking lot, she was struck by a car and tragically died right there. Now, when I analyze Fotis from this position now, pre and post that tragedy, it is clear he was never the same, and he never recovered. I couldn't believe this, and as I searched for more and more answers, I couldn't help but think about my 3 amazing, beautiful children who were all wounded by 2 imperfect parents and had to go through a divorce that they didn't ask for, that left scars on all of them. I think of my 86-year-old mother who lives with me and to this day battles fear, worry, and anxiety. And even my highly successful older brother recently asked, "What's life all about, Mikey?" We can never know the true inner world that someone is going through. But what we do know is that life is hard for all of us. Life can just kick us right in the teeth. Now, when I analyze my life, you might think I have it all worked out. I've earned 2 doctoral degrees. I have 3 healthy, brilliant, beautiful children that are all doing well. I have a supportive, loving family and great friends. But what you don't know is that I have struggled with a deep sense of shame my entire life. Now, I've persevered in life. And we're taught that perseverance, it's a virtue. And I believe that to be true for the most part. That if we just keep pushing, keep going, keep heading toward our goal, eventually we'll get there. And if we don't, no problem. We'll just learn some life lessons and build resilience along the way. I believed that. That is how I succeeded. I just kept pushing. When I realized all of this stuff and all the cathartic thinking of my friend Fotis, myself, my beautiful children, I realized something very unsettling. My perseverance in life wasn't from a healthy spot. It was from a place of toxicity. And that's why I'm here to share with you this idea. I'm not here to refute perseverance. I'm here to maybe re-examine it a little bit and share with you an insight that has fundamentally reshaped the way I view healing and meaning. I've defined toxic perseverance as the subconscious pattern of thought that's rooted in some kind of unresolved trauma, unmet needs, or painful setbacks. Our life kind of goes out of alignment, and instead of being guided by clarity and meaning, we're led by an array of toxic traits, including things like shame, fear, guilt, worry, pride, anger, perfectionism, indifference. How about envy? Low self-confidence, gossip. These traits and thoughts take root in our subconscious and form the emotional architecture of our drive. Toxic perseverance doesn't keep us from being successful. It often fuels it. Eventually, even genuine accomplishments stop feeling like they're enough. Now, I know this syndrome all too well, not just because I've defined it, but because I have lived it all my life. I wasn't medically diagnosed with ADHD and 2 learning disabilities until I was in college, which meant that my entire childhood in the 1970s was meant to navigate through all the landmines I kept stepping on from doing everything wrong. You sprinkle in a little bit of early childhood inappropriate sexualization, and I became a dysregulated mess of a child. The words, "I'm sorry," became the soundtrack of my life. And every time I apologized, it etched just a little more shame into my identity. I didn't know how to handle this as a kid or process it, so I did what children do when they can't make sense of things. I buried it. I internalized it, blamed myself, and became my fiercest critic. But buried shame doesn't go away. It transforms. And for me, it looked like the outward expression of frustration and verbal anger. Not because I wanted to hurt others with my words, although I know I have. I've even hurt my own children. But because anger felt safer than admitting to how lost and empty I felt. Anger became my shield, an immature way to discharge responsibility and have a moment of false sense of control. And maybe, I guess, get a dopamine hit. Ultimately, anger prevented me and kept me from realizing that I had lost something vital in my life. I lost meaning. Toxic perseverance isn't about grit or strength. It is literally about survival. And it lives in a gap of the life that we show and a life we feel. So why did my dear friend Fotis do the ultimate nearly 20 years after that tragic loss? I don't know. I'll never know. But toxic perseverance bled him. And over time, he fell more and more out of alignment. That unprocessed loss of his mom widened the gap between the life that he showed and the life that he felt. Eventually, that misalignment led to all loss of his hope. Now, for many of us that may identify with this toxic perseverance, life doesn't end that way, fortunately. Don't do that. But it can show up and look like chronic pain or illness of some kind, restlessness, the feeling of loneliness, maybe depression, and the quiet feeling that I'm just not good enough, or I don't think I'm doing enough. So how do we flip the script on good old toxic perseverance? Well, for me, everything started to shift when I realized that this toxic perseverance, it's a thing. But at its core, it is rooted in a lie. And that lie is that the worst moments of my life defined who I am. How crazy is that? Here's the deal. When I allowed myself to have compassionate curiosity about my story, and I looked at my story through the lens of grace rather than harsh judgment, that opened a window. I could start to forgive myself. And with that, gratitude flowed in. Not for being thankful for the things that I have in my life, and I am. I'm especially thankful for my children. But true, honest gratitude for my story, for the life and resilience and the lessons that I've built and forged. Healthy perseverance for me began when I just stopped fighting myself. And I recognized that in order to have healthy perseverance, I have to be in alignment with who I am and understand and accept that setbacks and challenges are ahead. But I don't make them a verdict of my worth. Healthy perseverance is rooted in that genuine, honest, compassionate curiosity, earnest gratitude for your story, authentic vulnerability, and meaning. Now, I have to say this because I'm in Texas. If y'all can start to do that, you might realize something that hit me. I have always been enough. Fotis was enough. And so are you. Thank you.